voters are heading to the polls today in the New Hampshire primary. It's essentially a two-person race right now between Nikki Haley and Donald Trump. Speaking of voting, a new poll is out showing what voters are most concerned about this election. And get this, the top concern is not inflation, as it previously was. It is now immigration. The issue is up 7 percentage points compared to previous month's polls. These are the top four concerns, according to this poll: immigration, inflation, and the economy, crime and drugs, and healthcare. DBL Nation, always want to hear from you. What is your top concern as a voter? Go to dblvote.com to weigh in. Al, what do you think about that poll? That's surprising to me.
Well, you know, because of this job, I look at a lot of different headlines from a lot of different websites, you know, and I see what kind of bleeds in each one and which ones bleed into pop culture. And there's been this narrative ever really since I remember being very skeptical when we were about to do that story about Target stores closing because of you know, crime. And I was like, that just didn't seem right to me. That was debunked. It was shown to be a lie from the corporation. I feel like crime is being pushed anytime the election season's coming up because it's something that you run on. Crime is, for the most part, pretty static, if not going down at all-time levels. And I think it distracts from the real thing. It's like a lot of Americans don't have health care. A lot of Americans don't have $2,000 in the bank. And I think there's a lot of things to point at that don't really affect you. But the real thing is that we all should be lucky enough to have $2,000 in the bank for an emergency.
And you mentioned crime really quickly, right. But the majority of crimes committed here in the States is not from immigrants.
Right.
The majority is from American citizens. So do you think most people don't know that and they conflate?
Well, you never see that. When we talk about terrorists, we don't talk about January 6th.
Or we don't talk about school shootings.
Right. And so, or Dylan Roof. It's a terrorist is as a terrorist does. Whatever you see is crime is crime. Whatever you don't, you won't.
So what's your number one issue, you guys?
I would say,
what matters to you the most?
Honestly, my number one issue would be healthcare, and I'm someone who has healthcare. Right. And it's alarming about how the feeling that I get sometimes, and just in the interest of transparency, especially over the past year, I've been on, I'm very deep in my IVF journey. I am constantly at a doctor's office or a hospital, and I have the ability to have the resources to get what I need. And there is so much disparity in healthcare. It is alarming to me as a person of means to be in situations where I'm constantly fighting with in order to get my pharmaceuticals. I'm constantly asking about, in times of bedside manner. And these are situations where I'm paying out of pocket for. So when I think about the disparity in healthcare when it comes to people who don't have access to it,
right.
People are dying every day. Kamala Harris has been on, her platform has been about Black maternal health care and the birth rate. I have been reading every article. I have been my husband and I are well versed in every single thing that is possibly happening right now in Black maternal health care. Why? Because I'm thinking about it. I think a lot of these things are things that people are directly being influenced by, or it's actually hurting them today. I don't know if these are representative of everything that are hurting people today. I could see inflation. I could see healthcare. I could see the things that you can't put food on the table or you can't go see a doctor. So I hope that when people go to the polls, they're thinking about the imminent need of what's happening as opposed to what we're being told to focus on. Because I think a lot of times we're being told to focus on this boogeyman that isn't what keeps you up at night.
What was that? Sorry, what was that? The number one concern is immigration. Am I supposed to read the poll? I'm so sorry. I'm so